And you may find yourself in another part of the world. And you may find yourself behind the wheel of a large automobile. And you may find yourself in a beautiful house with a beautiful wife. And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here? Talking heads. It was like I'd got COVID of the soul. Just as people would lose their sense of taste and smell from coronavirus, I'd lost my mojo. Every beat, every melody, every lyric I'd ever listened to now had no flavour, no funk, no nothing. I felt numb. What was once euphoric was now just white noise, which for someone running one of the world's biggest record labels was nothing short of a catastrophe. And now there was this. Another black man killed by the police on the streets of my adopted home. Sure, I could disconnect if I wanted to. I could think, what's he got to do with me? I didn't know the brother. I could buy into the media deflections, the political distractions, the I feel your pain denials, and just accept that the fella was asking for it. With my Upper West Side apartment, my Caribbean holidays, my industry awards, my this, my that, I could have simply dropped the shoulder on this one, moved on and gone about my business. I could have, but I didn't. As I stood in the middle of Union Square, surveying the mass of masked protesters with their mashed up placards, raised fists and voices fueled with frustration, anger and yes, hate, I'd seen enough to know when things would soon get ugly. Surrounding the square, what was earlier a thin blue line of overweight beat cops overseeing a peaceful demonstration had suddenly turned into a thick, dark mulch of baton-wielding riot police, poised and ready for trouble. Let's get out of here, I said to my wife Alison and my son Darcus Jr. We had done as much as we could, having grown up in the Black British civil rights movement and been dragged out on demos, protests and marches before I could even walk. I knew how to read the runes on the street as much as I knew how to read the faces in the boardroom. I didn't need President Donald Trump and his incendiary tweeting to know that when the looting starts, the shooting starts. It was time to bounce. Just like the thousands in Union Square and the millions right across America and around the world, Alison, Darcus Jr. and I had shouted until our throats were hoarse. No peace, no justice. Black lives matter. Enough is enough. But would there ever be justice? Did black lives really matter? When was enough of anything ever enough? Yes, we had done as much as we could, but now the light was fading. Trouble was brewing. Police choppers were hovering overhead. Family aside, that afternoon I also gathered a small group of colleagues from Ireland, US, who, during a morning Zoom, were in floods of tears over what had happened in Minneapolis days earlier and wanted to make a stand as a show of unity and protest against the death of George Perry Floyd Jr. The latest statistic in yet another American war, not on drugs, not on terrorism, but on black people. Looking back on that bizarre, unprecedented moment in human history, I wonder how much of the radical, empathetic zeal that people displayed when they hit the streets or banged pots and pans together on their balconies was born out of a genuine coming together, or because in a lockdown world shorn of hustle and bustle and night shifts and traffic and clubs and gigs, people simply now had time to care. Heading away from the demo, I felt the veil being lifted, the rose-tinted glasses coming off. The American dream, for me at least, was over. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't wanted it to come true. Who wouldn't? But to live the dream, you have to buy into the fantasy, which for millions of Americans and foreigners alike meant either being wasted or deluded. Occasionally, both. Unfolding events, however, had given me a serious reality check. Every time I looked in the mirror or caught my reflection in a window, I didn't like what I saw. I jogged past the storefront, checked to the side, and there I was, hunched over, gaunt, frazzled. Was that really me? Maybe it was the insomnia, the headaches, the atrophy in flesh and bone, the stress. Fuck, was that really me? It was the 2nd of June 2020, while tens of millions of people the world over were basically stuck at home baking banana bread in their pajamas, hoping, praying, begging for the pandemic to end. God knows how many people were on the streets of America and beyond, railing against the latest police killing of an unarmed black man. As the pandemic bit and we all retreated to our little colonies, like human ants, countless New York corporates adopted a cameras-on policy so they could monitor staff working from home. Nevertheless, that afternoon, I had rallied the troops from my office and standing shoulder to shoulder with them on that hill, put them, myself, and potentially the label in the firing line as America went up in flames.
To keep listening to this audiobook for free, click the link in the description. It will take you to a free Audible trial where you can listen to this and many other books for free for 30 days.